Welcome to Just Minding My Business Radio, where we are moving at the speed of God, learning what we didn't know we didn't know. I'm your host, Ida Crawford, so grab a pen and paper and get ready for information that you can use. Welcome all. Now that the tax crunch is over, I call this the ugly side of business that nobody really likes. However, it is one of those tasks that we all have to do, whether we are in business, working a 9-to-5, and sometimes retired. Now is the time to think about what you might need to do to take the sting out of next year's tax return. I am honored to have Teddy Prelude, widely known as Teddy the Taxman, behind the mic today. Teddy is an enrolled agent and has successfully ran his practice for 37 years. Teddy also has a weekly segment on Fox 45 Morning News in Baltimore, Maryland, where he educates 1 million viewers on retirement and tax issues that affect their families. Teddy can also be heard every Thursday evening on WCLMradioonline.com, where he discusses topics such as rolling over retirements, taxes, small business issues, and other financial information that is important to households at all levels of the income spectrum. Teddy is also interviewed on a regular basis on the historic Howard University Radio, WHUR.com, and many other radio stations around the country. He is past chairman of the board of a 12,000-member credit union and past vice chairman of the Maryland Tax Preparers Board. He is also a past chairman of the membership committee of the Maryland Society of Accountants and continues to serve on other boards that gladly use his talent to further their advancement in their areas of service. Teddy the Taxman recently celebrated the preparation of 20,000 tax returns. Well, congratulations. You heard it right, 20,000 tax returns. In 2010, Teddy expanded his retirement practice to prepare for the onslaught of those who are leaving their jobs for retirement or are headed towards a second career. He is the founder of Hunt Valley Retirement, LLC, in the beautiful town of Hunt Valley, Maryland. Well, congratulations, Teddy, on 37 years and 20,000 tax returns.
Mm-hmm. Well, I thank you so very much. And it hasn't been easy, I'll tell you that much.
I'm sure it hasn't.
Hey, if you know anything about small business, the one thing that you definitely know is that it ain't easy. Pardon the bad English, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, I definitely know. Sometimes there's tears and all of that.
Yes, sir.
And right now, I thought it would be a good time to start preparing people for next year's tax return because, to me, that's the ugly side of business. Every time I have to sit down and get all my paperwork together, it's like I've got to kind of prep myself and get myself in the mood to do it. And that's a hard thing.
In the mood and in the mode.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I will tell you, it is a challenge. And when you are running your own small business, especially for those running their own small businesses, taxes are really a year-round thing. Because think about it. When you were working for the retailer down the street and you were making $30,000 a year, your retailer withheld federal taxes, withheld state taxes, withheld 6.2% in Social Security taxes, withheld the 1.45% in Medicare taxes, and so much of your work as an employee was done. That is not the case as a small business owner. So you really, as much as you are versed in whatever it is you do, you've got to learn a little bit about the tax preparation. So let's go. Let's go. And first, we will talk about what needs to be done right now to prepare for the preparation of your 2017 tax return. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go. So for a lot of people who have children who are turning 17 years old, if your child is turning 17 years old this calendar year, watch out, because you will no longer get that child tax credit. That child tax credit is worth, get this, the child tax credit is worth $1,000. $1,000. Now, I don't know about in your household, but $1,000 is a pretty good amount to be losing to the IRS in my household. That's the way we look at that. So if you have a child who is turning 17 in this year, you will lose that child tax credit. And in essence, what that means, and I'm going to use some nice round numbers to help our listeners out. What that means is, if every year for the last 16 years that you had that child, you were getting a nice fat $1,000 refund, if nothing has changed over the last 12 months, what that means is that $1,000 refund has now been changed to a zero refund. Now, nobody's happy about that. I guarantee you. Nobody's happy about losing $1,000 worth of refunds all in one fell swoop. But I will tell you this, you are even less happy if you find that out in March.
Absolutely.
So if I tell you right now that your refund is going to be lesser by $1,000 because you have a child, a dependent who is turning 17, yeah, you're going to be mad, you're going to be upset, you're going to be frustrated, but guess what? You still have the rest of this year to make up for that. All right? How do you make up for it? Well, instantly you say, well, I'll tell you what, yeah, I don't really like the scenario. I don't like the situation. But what I will do is I will tell my employer, if I'm an employee, I will tell my employer to withhold more in federal taxes. Let me stand right here and kind of sort of disagree with you. What I would prefer that our listeners do is this. Instead of changing your W-4 so that your employer withholds more in federal taxes, how about this? Why don't you contribute more to your 401k? Now, right now, people are saying, I really don't understand the significance in increasing my 401k contributions versus changing my W-4. Here's the significance. Remember this. Your 401k contributions are pre-tax. So for every dollar you contribute to your 401k, that is a lesser amount that's going to show on your tax return. So if it's a lesser amount, what it means is this. Lesser income means a lesser amount of taxes. So this applies to most people in the union. It really does. Now, I do have bad news for our listeners in Pennsylvania. That doesn't quite apply. So unfortunately,
I found that out.
And did you find it out the hard way?
Yes, I did.
So it does not apply to our good listeners in Pennsylvania, but for all the other states in the union, it does, right? So, again, you want to contribute more to your 401k and not necessarily worry about changing your W-4 so that they withhold more. Because guess what? If you have your employer to withhold more, you're paying the IRS. But if you have your 401k contributions increased, you're paying yourself. So this is the way you should look at it. I can pay myself more and I can get a higher refund. That's almost a contradiction in terms, isn't it? Right? So that's almost a contradiction in terms, but it works. So if you're contributing, let's just throw some numbers out there. If you're contributing 5% to your 401k every paycheck, why don't you bump it up to 8, maybe 9, maybe 10%? I'm not saying that that's easy. I'm not saying that's easy. That requires some planning because you're going to have a lesser take-home amount. So what you want to do is you really want to look at your situation and you really want to see how much you can afford to contribute to your 401k and or how much more can you afford to contribute to your 401k. And you really, really need to start thinking about that. And I don't want the fact that you're putting away for your retirement to get lost in the shuffle. Because here I am, I'm assuming that people know that they're putting monies into their 401ks for retirement. I'm assuming that. Maybe I shouldn't assume. Maybe I shouldn't assume. Maybe we should look at it like this. You are killing 4 birds with one stone. Let me count them. If you contribute to your 401k and or contribute more to your 401k, here's the top priority. You're going to have something for retirement. That's the top and main priority. Number 2, you will lessen the amount that you're going to pay the federal government. Let me say that again, and I'm going to say it slower. You will reduce the amount that you end up paying the federal government, i.e. the Internal Revenue Service. Number 3, you're going to reduce the amount that you're going to pay to your state in taxes. Number 4, you're going to reduce the amount that you're going to pay to the local entities in taxes. So there, you have 4 reasons, minimum of 4 reasons why you should contribute to your 401k and or contribute more to your 401k. Now, Ida, I know what you're thinking. This is what you're thinking. But suppose I increase my 401k contributions and it doesn't work out. And I find out that I really do need more money in my paycheck. I know you're thinking that. So here is your answer, my friend. It's no longer the 1990s. Why do I say that? Because in the early 1990s, you could only make the change to your 401k contribution amount once every year. That was during open enrollment. That's not the case anymore. So this is pretty exciting. What I'm saying is this. If you say, I am going to increase my 401k contributions. Oh, by the way, same for your TSP if you're a federal worker, or a 403B if you're in the nonprofit arena. Same thing, okay? I'm just using 401k as a generic term. All right, so if you are going to contribute more, if you're going to increase your contributions and you find out 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, 2 months later, that you really do need more money in your paycheck, guess what? You can go to HR and you can change the amount of your 401k contributions again.
That's
so,
good to know.
So it's absolutely great to know. No, you're not hemming yourself in once you make that contribution. So, or once you determine what that contribution amount is going to be. So, I dare say that you could change the amount that you're going to contribute 3, 4, 5 times a year until you get it to that perfect amount where, you know, the amount that you're contributing is great and the amount that you're taking home in your paycheck is even or as great, and it works out for you. So that's what I want our listeners to start considering. Pay yourself more, which means contribute more to your 401k, and watch the amount go down that you're going to end up paying the federal, the state, and the local government.
All right. Now, a quick question, Teddy. Now, for the business people that are running businesses, and a lot of times what happens, especially in a startup business, money fluctuates. You don't really, you know, make the same amount of money every month, that kind of thing. What can our business people do to put a little something? Great question. Necessary question. All right, here you go. The business folk, and let's talk about a sole proprietor for right now, or a single member LLC. It's all the same as far as the federal government is concerned. Let's start there because that's going to be the easiest one to discuss. All right, so you're a single member LLC or a sole proprietorship. And by now, you've heard the term estimated taxes. You've heard the term quarterly taxes, one and the same, okay? It's just a different phraseology. Right. So your question was, well, golly, money, your income is going to fluctuate probably as a small business owner. What the heck am I supposed to be doing as far as estimated taxes? Here's your answer right here. When your money is fluctuating like that, what you want to do is you want to talk to your tax advisor at the very least once per quarter. And you want to say to the tax advisor, all right, my income this quarter was X amount. My expenses were X amount. What is my required estimated tax payment? So, in essence, it's almost as if you're preparing your tax return 5 times in that year. And don't panic. I can hear our listeners panicking right now. Don't panic, please. Don't jump off the ledge, please. Hold on. No, my face got a little twisted 5 times.
What I mean by that is this. This is what I mean. You already know your tax return is due on, April 15th, generally speaking. So that's one, tax preparation. All right. You also need to file quarterly taxes, estimated taxes. So how many quarters are there in a year? There are 4. So you want to do an estimated tax for each one of those quarters. Now, let me get back to what I was saying. I'm drawing a parallel to your actual tax return being prepared because it's the same process almost. It's this. Hey, Teddy the tax man, this is the amount that I brought in for this quarter. Here are my expenses. So when I subtract expenses from the revenues, this is my net income. What's my tax going to be? Does that sound familiar? That's the same as what we do when we're preparing your tax return. Now, yes, I did oversimplify it. I did, but I'll bet you any amount of money our listeners got the message because that's what it is. So let's go back to your example. Golly, income fluctuates. So suppose I make no money in a particular quarter. Here's the answer. No estimated taxes. If you had no revenues, you're not required to pay estimated taxes. Or if you have revenues, but your expenses exceeded your revenues. No estimated taxes. That's how it works. And I want to tell you, as hard as that may seem, as hard as sending in estimated taxes might seem, compare it to this. Compare it to bringing in, let's say $100,000 for that year, and your expenses are $60,000, net income $40,000. Compare it to paying the taxes on $40,000 all at the end of the year. I know that there are listeners. I know for a fact, Ida, that we have listeners who prefer to do it that way. But let me tell you some of the problems with it. Your first estimated tax payment is due when? It's April 15th. Well, when is your tax return required to be filed? It's April 15th. So when are you supposed to pay your balance from that tax return? It's April 15th. So wait a minute. You're going to end up owing that balance due from the tax return and the first quarter's estimated tax return tax payment on April 15th. I want to tell you, that can take a business down quicker than just about anything else. So that is why I'm saying, please, 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 I'm begging our listeners to not wait until April 15th and pay everything that's due from that tax return. Because then you have to pay that first quarter's estimated tax payment, and that can ruin your cash flow in a quick minute.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah. And go ahead.
For the new business, okay, because they're pretty much learning a whole lot of things and building a lot of different muscles, business muscles. What can you say for people to be conscious and intentional about doing this? What's a good way to start?
Number one, be serious about your business. Be very, very serious about your business. I'm going to tell you a little, very, very innocent line that people use. I'm just doing this as a hobby. If I want to promise you this, if you are sitting in front of an internal revenue agent at an audit, and that agent hears the word hobby, you are done. Why? Because if it's a business, if you are running this, and the term at the Internal Revenue Service is you have to have a profit motive. You have to have a profit motive. You're not in this just to have some fun, just to hang out with the fellas, just to hang out with your girlfriends, just to do a little thing here and there. Nope. It needs to be a profit motive. If the IRS detects that what you are doing does not have a profit motive, this is what they will do. They will say, we see that you had a loss on your business. Yeah, I had a loss because my expenses were way more than my income. This is what they're going to do. They're going to say, we are denying the excess expenses. And you're going to go, why? I paid it. No. But Ida, you just called this a hobby. And under the Internal Revenue Service laws, with a hobby, you can't have a loss. So now you walk out of that audit owing another $6,000, $7,000. Tell me that's not going to create a problem for you.
That's going to be a huge problem.
A huge problem. And we haven't even finished. Because guess what? When the Internal Revenue Service finishes with you, they're going to call your state, and they're going to say, guess what? we just slammed Ida for another $6,000 or $7,000. Don't you think the state is going to have its hands open as well? And they're going to say, well, we're going to slam her for that amount too. Because if it happened on the federal tax return, chances are it happened on the state tax return as well. So let's go back. Your question was, all right, what is one of the things that you want to say to our listeners about that business? And I'm thinking you're talking about particularly the startup businesses. Be serious and intentional about your business. Number 2, know what it is you want to do.
Wow, this has been impactful. You know I'm going to have you back on the show again and again.
I'm ready when you are. You just let me know.
Well, tell our audience how they can get in contact with you.
Oh, great. Okay, my website is www.huntvalleyretirements.com. That's www.huntvalleyretirements.com. Matter of fact, you can go there, sign up for my monthly newsletter. You can learn at your own pace in your own space. It has very, very good information. Once you sign up, nobody's going to visit you, nobody's going to write you or anything like that. When you get this wealth of information, because it's a wealth of information that you will get every month, you can read it. When you get it, you can read it a day later, 2 days later. Who cares? Just read it. I promise you it will educate you. www.huntvalleyretirements.com. And my phone number is 410-931-2004. I've had that same phone number for 20, I don't know how many years. 410-931-2004.
All right. Well, I thank you so much, Teddy, for the wealth of information that you've given us. I know there's tons more where that came from, and I'm looking forward to definitely having you as a regular on this show to educate our entrepreneurs on the things that they need to be doing in terms of their taxes and watch out for this and that kind of thing. So I truly appreciate you, and thank you all for stopping by, and we will talk. Thank you for tuning in to Just Minding My Business Radio. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. We hope you enjoyed the show and appreciate you stopping by. Many blessings to you and yours.